driving. We do it every day, and there's no way around that in today's society. And as we drive, we do so on the asphalt and concrete of the American road. Getting your license was all about that open road, that big stretch of highway we remember from the old movies and such. Spread out and flowing like the Pied Piper of destiny. Wait for you to follow. However, here in the Midwest, that Hollywood dream soon turns into a nightmare. Or, a tire shop owner's dream. The cash cow of the tire kings, as the ice and snow cycle of the region does its worst to try and destroy this bastion of the American story shining in freedom's name. But here, that shine is the ice that's an inch thick in the winter. And more specifically here in Michigan, we use salt to melt the ice. Just so happens we sit on one of the largest salt deposits in America. Simple solution to melting the ice, right? The devastation is almost immeasurable. Unless, you have some paint and a chalk box, and then we can figure out how much of that flat black is going to take to get her done. That same wear and tear apply in some measure to your driveways. Asphalt is very susceptible to this process of freezing and melting, and that's where we come in. So in this video I'm going to show you exactly what we have to do when it comes to getting your asphalt driveway finished, and hope you enjoy the ride. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, Rob here again. Listen, here in the States, we use asphalt concrete to do our roads. So here in this video, I'm going to show you kind of what the asphalt part is. We do concrete also, but I don't. I mean, I do, but not for this company. So what I do in these videos is the asphalt part. And I love it. I love doing the seal coat. I love doing the asphalt patchwork that we do. So, I can't complain. So as far as the asphalt, let's get to work here. Asphalt gets laid down on a base, just like any other product that you lay on the ground. You either have some kind of underlayment or you have some kind of basing. For asphalt, typically it's crushed gravel and some dirt, sand, whatever, compacted down, and then you lay your asphalt. Now typically when you're doing a lift, which is let's say an overlay of someone's driveway or something, you want to give anywhere between 2 to 3 inches minimum. Sometimes you can obviously go thicker, but that's your minimum you're shooting for. Now depending on how much traffic or what this is going to sustain over dictates how much compaction you need, which is how much squish are you going to give this product? How much does it really have to hold up? So when we do our driveways, we use a roller, which is plenty compaction for a car pulling in and pulling out of its driveway. There's no heavy machinery coming in. I mean, unless, you're getting something done, and then guess what? You give us a call typically when they leave, because they usually make a little bit of a mess, and sometimes they'll crumble an edge or something. So that being said, we don't have to do too much as far as when we do an overlay. We usually put about 2 to 3 inches. We go with the minimum around here, unless we're doing somebody's, if we're doing like a big pole barn or something, we'll give 4 to 6 inches of asphalt just to make sure if they do have tractors or something, they got enough in there to do what they got to do. But again, it's situational. So over time, the salt, the wear and tear that you have from the winter, because winter's pretty rough. Winters, with the snow and the ice, the water gets in, the water freezes, the water expands in the area in which it's froze. And if there's anything holding it back, well, guess what? Freezing water that expands is pretty powerful. It can break apart almost anything over time, especially over multiple cycles of freezing and melting. And here in Michigan, our roads do not go through the minimum amount of freezing and melting. They go through some of the maximum amounts of freezing and melting when it comes to using asphalt roads. So here you go. We're going to cover what happens on your driveway and how we manage to give you the services you need when it comes to an asphalt and then a seal coat and hot rubber crack fill application. And I hope you learn a little bit from the video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And let's get to the flat black. The first thing you want to do when you come to a driveway here is you want to assess, is there anything on here that I have to move right away? And on this one, there certainly was. Good old Stewie, he's got this basketball net. I don't know if he even knows what a rim feels like. Little short guy. Just kidding, buddy. I love you. But yeah, first thing you want to do, sometimes people have their cars parked. Sometimes you'll have stuff on the driveway if you're doing it commercially. If you're doing this for yourself, just make sure you don't have anything on your driveway. No cars, no basketball hoops, no nothing crazy that you got to move. It's also at this point that you're checking for any major cracks that you may have to fill. And then the next thing you're going to have to worry about is either going to be whipping, which is what I'm about to show you here, or possibly using some kind of power broom or push broom with some heavy bristle action if it's dirty. This one's pretty dirty. I actually pulled out the shovel later on the end of the driveway there. You can see all that dirt and debris and grass growing. So right here what I'm doing is I'm trying to give this edge, I guess you could say a tailored look. In a sense, I want it to kind of look straight where it's straight, and I want it to have a nice little curve where it's got the curve, and I don't want it to jog around here and there everywhere else if I can help it. So I'll take off little pieces here and there to make it look straight like I was talking about. So, you know, it's more of just a manicure and, you know, putting lipstick on a pig, as Corey would say, and a lot of people say. But yeah, you're basically just dressing up something that don't really look that good no matter what you do to it. However, once it's done, it's black, it does look pretty damn good for a little while. But as you can see here, I'm just going through these cracks here, and you can take the brush and do the same thing. It doesn't get the grass, but the brush really does get the dirt out better. The whip will dig a little deeper though, that is for sure. Now in some of these really deep cracks, I don't believe there were any on Stu's house here, but they'll be so deep that you actually have to use some kind of sand or a filler. We use sand. It's silica sand. It's not the best to breathe in, but it does get deep down into that crack and make sure it gets filled. You can use other fillers. There's liquid fillers and things of that nature that you can put in there. We use hot rubber to actually top the crack off and fill the ones that don't need sand. And that's what we use for our main filler. But right here, we're just finishing whipping. Now this is the process. It does take a minute if you want to do it right and do it professionally. This is one of the first jobs back of the season, so I'm probably going to be the slowest that I'm going to be all season right here on this job. But I'm still getting the hang of it, you know, getting the rust knocked off, even though basically using this thing, I don't really get too rusty on it, no matter how long it's been. It's just so ingrained into your soul, into your being.
It's part of me.
This is pretty simple. You know, you just go around the edge, get it real good, make it look real nice, make sure you hit all your cracks, and you can even use this kind of as your brush and hit some of the dirt and debris on the way up and down the driveway with the weed whip. Now, I do want to say a couple things about this though. That's very important. These weed whips like to throw rocks and sticks and any damn thing they can get their little meaty hands on. Now, usually it's just a couple little tiny rocks and some dirt, but once in a while it will grab a bigger rock, and if you're standing in the way of it, you will get blasted with it, and I can tell you it doesn't feel good. You must wear your safety glasses. If you're going to be using this like I'm using it, you better wear your safety glasses. I don't know how many times I've been smacked in like the side of the eye. Luckily, I haven't been hit in the eyeball ever. I usually almost always wear my safety glasses. There's been a couple times, like the ones I'm talking where of course, the times you don't wear them are the times you get hit. So just make sure that you wear your safety glasses. Make sure they're rated for strong enough to take a beating by a weed whip and some rocks. And also, make sure you're not pointing this thing at anybody's property.
You want to watch where you point that thing before you.
As you can see, I'm kind of pointing at the garage there. I'm going really slow with the whip head. I've been doing this for a while. I've smacked quite a few window in my day, busted a few here and there. So that's the risk you take using these things, is you will bust a window if you point it the wrong way. For instance, there was one instance where a lady was driving by. I was probably 15 feet, maybe 10 feet into the driveway, pointing towards the road. I didn't want to point towards the house and the people. And she was driving by and happened to catch a rock right in her little minivan window, blow it out. And there was a car seat in there. Thank God there's no baby in there. But she was freaking out, like, oh my God, my baby could have been in there. Like, she was really, really freaking out. So we cleaned the glass out of her car and, tried to calm her down and stuff. But you just got to be really careful. So as you can see, I'm using it here even more than just for the weeds. I'm kind of cleaning up some of these cracks and craggly little areas where it's got like moss and dirt kind of ingrained into it. It's kind of sandy dirt here. You can tell it's like really light brown. But the whip's kind of a very versatile tool. It does a lot of work. You can even almost use it as a blower in some instances, as long as things aren't too deep. You can actually use the helicopter blade action of it to kind of blow stuff around, light grass and things of that nature. Pretty versatile tool there. The next part of your adventure is going to be the blower. Now, the blower is a multifaceted tool as well. It can kind of be used along with your foot as like a scrub brush. It gets rid of small little baby piles. And of course, it does its blowing. You can pick weeds as you go with your hand and just toss them in front of the blower, and it gets rid of them for you. So it's an eliminator. With a little help, like a little bat belt, you're like its little bat belt. You reach down, you grab a little bit of grass here and there, and use your foot to scrub it up. Now, usually there's, on bigger lots, there's a big push blower. This lot wasn't very big, so we just used the hand blowers. But someone will be with you with the brush, kind of brushing the cracks for you as you go along. And the objective here is to remove all the debris, all the rocks, all the dust, clean all the cracks out. You want basically something you can eat off of when you're done here. So edges are very important. You got to make sure there's no debris in the edges. You got to make sure there's no grass growing on the edges. Sometimes there'll be lots of cracks along the edges. It's not necessary for you to get all of the cracks when it comes to rubbering on the edge, because even in the contract it says we only are responsible for up to a certain point. But you do have to clean everything out, so at least some sealer gets in there if you end up not putting some rubber there. We try to put rubber in all the major cracks. Even if we only charge for 1,000 linear, we'll put down 2,500, 3,000. It really doesn't matter the number to us. We figured out over the years that a certain number gets us by within a certain profit margin, and it ends up helping the customer out better this way, because we kind of give them all an average and they all just get done. Usually go over a little bit, but we don't mind because we just want to do a really good job, and we want the return business. We love all of our residential and commercial customers. I personally like to do commercial jobs just because you're working for a little bit longer. The day goes by a little quicker. It's not so much in and out of the truck. Like this little lot, if we could do lots about twice this size, a couple few a day, I'd be happy with that. And that would be my life. But, we get to do all the other stuff too, like the asphalt and all that. And then you guys get to enjoy the videos from it. So after this phase is when the rubber comes, but you really got to make sure that this phase is completed. And this is actually one of the transition phases where you're going to notice a lot of things, like, is it still wet? Is it still dirty? Do I need a scrub brush here or there? How much rubber am I going to use as I'm walking? I'm paying attention to that stuff. Where's the sealer going to... is it dry? Is it going to be a slider, as we call them, when they just kind of glide along and it doesn't take up that much material? All these things are being answered as you're blowing, because as you're blowing, you got to take your time anyway. So you're able to assess the entire situation. So yeah, you see, I had the brush there. Like we had the torch out earlier. We were torching cracks. Like, want to make sure that we do a really good job. I'm explaining right now, I think, how we're going to pull out of here, or how it's going to go down a little bit with Corey and giggling about something, obviously. We're always giggling around here about some silly stuff. But yeah, that was it. I sped it up a little bit so I could explain it to you as we were going here. But as you can see, I just kind of slowly go. Me and Angel are working together. I'm explaining to him how we're going to blow out all this stuff out of here, because you got to make sure you clean both sidewalks, and you got to make sure you don't blow a bunch in the road. But yeah, that's your blower action right there. Alright, and here we have the V-squeegee. Now let me tell you about this V-squeegee. This is probably the most daunting item we have when it comes to physically using it. It has smited a seal coater attempting to use it, at least in the beginning. It does take a little bit of time. The learning curve is a little tough compared to some of the other stuff, because you really got to get it flat and it takes a little bit of pressure and a little bit of practice to get it to go right, and to be able to not step all in it and to get it all over yourself. And especially when you're doing like Corey, you're just giving me a bunch of little bullshit lines here because it's just a bunch of baby cracks on this road. But you know, it is what it is, and now that I've learned how to use it over 20 almost years, it's pretty simple. You just got to make sure you don't step in it. You can see as I walk with it, I pretty much keep my feet in the same position relative to the V-squeegee. I don't move away from it, left, right, forward, backward. I pretty much try to keep it in the same spot while I'm using it. Just seems to work better for me that way. It's more about where the V is hitting the ground and how it's, you know, it's oriented. I pretty much contort myself to make sure that that thing's laying down right. And you can see Corey, he's using the pour pot right there. So he's laying it out. He just pulls up on that plunger I showed in the tool video. A little bit comes out. He pushes it back down against the ground. You can see him. I don't know if you get a shot of him here or not, but you can see he opens it up, lets a little out, and then he kind of wipes it on the ground at the end there with the plunger down. That way, you know, it doesn't leave anything too much on the ground, and I can kind of wipe at it with the V-squeegee and everything comes flat. So, not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'm looking pretty good there. And then let's see if we can't get Corey to get a good line here. I don't think we have any big ones, unfortunately. And one of the new guys, Jose, did most of the V-squeegee, and today I think he has a little bit of experience working with a Sealcoat crew. You see how I just did that? I'd like to take that back, but I'm kind of recording right now. So you see me jump from one to the other real quick. I try not to stay with my V-squeegee down. You can see it. See, I flipped it right there. I flipped it right there because it was flipped up, which means I'm trying to cup the extra juice that might be in it. I don't want it to drip. And then I try to jump from one to the other as much as I can when I know that there might be a little juice in there. I flip it up right there. I always flip it up at the end. That's funny because my son actually he had like another technique. He'd flip it up, but he would look at it. I don't know why he always looked at it, just to see if there was any rubber left in it or something. It was kind of funny. I thought it was kind of funny. But as you can see, we're pretty much done now. We're looking around, we're walking around. I think we get like one or two little minis, but that's the V-squeegee right there. That's the tough tool to learn, but she's a beaut when you're done with her. She's fun to learn. And now, after all that prep is finished, we get to what is the namesake of this channel, Sealcoat Nation. And we call it that because this is the type of video, and this is the part of the video most people seem to enjoy, whether it's super speed or normal speed, a little bit of music. It's kind of relaxing. So finally, after all the buildup, after all the noise and the asphalt and all that, the prep, we finally gotten to the point in the series where we can finally introduce the 2024 season actual Sealcoat Nation first Sealcoat video. Enjoy it. You've waited long enough, haven't you? Oh my gosh, they're back. They're finally back. Oh man. Welcome back to the real stuff here. Here, we're at Sealcoat Nation's namesake. We're going to get some Sealcoat here. And this one is going to be me and Corey with two of the new guys, Angel and Dennis. I don't know if Dennis is his real name, but Angel and Dennis are going to be learning this season. I tell you what, these new guys are jumping all over everything. You can't even hold them back. So we're going to have Dennis here is going to pull up. I'm kind of explaining to him how I want him to pull up. And how I want him to go to the escalade a little bit. He wants him to go to the left as he's pulling out. And Angel is going to kind of like He's gonna be opening the valve for us, keeping an eye on how much sealer's coming out. Right now he's finishing cutting in, so he's just gonna be out of the scene for a bit. But here we go. Enjoy the video, guys. This is the new season 2024, first lot of the season, commercial 10,000. Little guy, something to warm you up with. So let's go. Let's go experience the flat black together. Oh, easy there, partner. Don't want to get sealer bung on everything now. So here we go. There's our first one of the year. And I'm going to give you a little some pointers here if you're just kind of watching this, wondering what we're doing here. As I go across this thing now, what I'm trying to do is create one line of coverage. It's basically like they cut in for me with the outside lines, and now I'm cutting in for myself with these big old lines, right? So I go over it once one way, go over it the other to make sure I get complete coverage, no dry spots, and then I slowly start working my way down as far as I've cut in on both edges. Back and forth, back and forth. Oh, didn't cut in this edge, boom, cutting it in. And I leave myself a little material at the end so I can push it back over, and then I take the line that's there, boom, now I see that little line I'm creating on the left side, and now it's going to be on the right. And I want to keep that little bit of sealer edge. So I always have a little bit of wet on the outside of my brush. That way I'm not leaving anything dry as I'm crossing. And you can see Corey's just going right behind me, grabbing all the footprints, and he's pushing anything that's heavy. Like, see, I just gave me a little bit extra there. I'll take that down my edge, or I'll cross my middle, or wherever I'm at. And these guys left a spot there where, and cutting in where they had to put some rubber, so they went around it, and then I finished cutting it in. And it's just like that. You go down the side, give yourself 10, 12 feet, whatever it is, 20, depending on how quickly you can seal coat it. This isn't much of a slider. It's kind of dry, so I'm only going about 10, 12 feet on the edges. And I'm only going about a quarter to a half a brush width as I'm going across, because it's just soaking it right up. And I don't want to leave anything dry. That's the main thing, is you can see kind of as I'm going across the dry, little pock marks on the spots where I've only went across at one point. I might go over it in another video, kind of just showcase it a little bit, just so anybody who does this on their own knows what to look for as far as quality on their own stuff. If you're doing your own house, or you're doing jobs for someone, or it's your first little bit of work, or you're just getting into this field with a company and you're trying to catch up and get up to speed with the rest of the guys, this is the type of video you want to watch here, because she's fun, baby. She's fun to watch, man. These are just really relaxing videos. When I put to it some good music and you don't hear me talking all the time, they're actually some pretty decent videos. They're fun to watch. They're relaxing. Eat a little cheap snack while you're waiting for like an appointment or something. Just something looking up in the background, kill some time. A little bit of chintzy, little cheap music like the one I got on right now. But yeah, so you're just going back and forth and you're just creating complete coverage. He goes and gets your feet out. I notice a lot of guys, when they first start, they don't know what to do with these piles. They kind of just, they'll push across, but the pile will come squirting out the backside instead of coming out the front. And you can see the angle I got on this brush right now. Like, it's like a 45, sometimes even more, to get that sealer to stay on the one side. See, I just flipped the brush around to get that angle. I pushed that whole pile, and I left a little bit on the top, so I'm gonna come back and just swoop it a little bit. Whoop. When you're getting into some heavy juice, then yeah, now I'm gonna take this stuff and just spread it down the edge here, give myself something to work into. And when you got a lot, sometimes you can run that little bit extra down the edge to get rid of some of it. Right now I got quite a bit. I'm gonna see if I can't get rid of some of it. No, not yet. I'm like, not yet. I think I'm going uphill this way, so I'm trying to keep a little bit in the middle to come uphill with over there. Like right here, I'm trying not to take too much down with me, because it's just all downhill. Like right here, I'm gonna squeeze it up this hill. But yeah, it's just back and forth. It's really simple once you get the hang of it. And you can see I make it look kind of easy, but it really is. Like, once you get the hang of it, as long as you know where to apply the pressure and how to twist the blade, so to speak, you can make it look just as easy as I do, really. I mean, probably not this fast. I got it in like 2 times speed, so this is actually kind of quick, but it really is kind of this fast. I mean, when you're really going, you can really get the flying, man. And this is a dry one, so we're going pretty slow, but it's making it look fast because I got it in the speed. But if this was like a really good slider, it'd be about this fast. You could jam out. So yeah, let's look at that. Ooh, look at, you see a little shot of Corey back there? Oh yeah, she looked nice and gleamy back there. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of this Sealcoat video. I'm gonna shut up now. Gave you a couple quick pointers, and I'm out of here. Peace out.
doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to lose it all. In the end, it doesn't even
All right, enough with the dramatics. Okay, we're back. We're finally here, and it's 2024, and we're Sealcoating. Yay! Keep with us, stay with us, keep an eye on us, watch us. We're crazy. Might get into trouble. You never know. We have proof that we can. So, welcome to the channel and Sealcoat Nation.